101 years later, the 24 Hours of Le Mans remains the world's greatest test of motoring endurance.
24 Hours Le Mans is the biggest race there is in the entire world.
As a professional driver, it's one of the targets, is one of your goals in your career is to race at Le Mans, and obviously then to try and win Le Mans. So Brendan and I met on a road car track day actually at Mont-Tremblant in Canada, and I could tell straight away in the car that he was very talented and very, very brave.
A good friend of mine and I jumped in to do a track day, and from track day we got kind of inspired to do this little amateur league called Pure McLaren. Really a ton of fun, a lot of like-minded people, tech entrepreneurs and engineers that come together a couple times a year to do a race.
You know, he was responding really well to my coaching and my inputs, and I could tell there was a lot of talent there. So, you know, I suggested to him that he has a go in a GT4 car. So he jumped in a McLaren 570S GT4, and straight away he loved it. He drove really well. Could just tell there was a lot of potential there. And as he got out of the car after that first run, he took his helmet off and looked at me and said, "Right, I want to be a racing driver." So, and then that was it. That was the start of our journey together. And then we progressed on into GT3 racing. Together we've had a lot of success. We've won 4 championships in the last 4 years, all across the world. We've raced at Le Mans 3 times with 3 different manufacturers as well. It's been an exciting journey, and Brendan's, you know, super talented, arguably one of the best bronze amateur drivers in the world now, and still got a long way to go and a lot to learn, and hopefully a lot more races to win. Bronze drivers used to be referred to as gentleman drivers because they were hobby drivers, and you know, they turn up for the weekend and drive. Now it's different. You know, they're referred to much more as the bronze driver in the car because of their FIA grading. The level now is so high. You know, I mean, I always say to anyone that plays golf, for example, these guys are like scratch golfers. You know, they're seriously good.
Kind of mind-blowing. I don't think there's any other sport where you get paired up, an amateur and such a professional, to be in the same high performance experience, the same race.
With modern day telemetry, you know, data loggers and video systems in the car, it's much easier for us to get them up to speed and coach them and educate them so they can match us a lot easier than they could maybe 10 or 15 years ago. So their bronze status is their FIA grading, but these guys now, the top bronzes, the top amateur drivers are incredibly good drivers, talented drivers. At Le Mans, you have to either be invited or through winning a series or through entering the World Endurance Championships. So in 2023, Brendan was the highest ranked bronze driver in IMSA, which won him the Akin trophy. And the Akin trophy, part of that prize is an automatic invitation to Le Mans the following year. So that's how we got our 2024 Le Mans entry, was through Brendan's success in IMSA last year. Our 2 big endurance races before Le Mans are Daytona and Sebring. Daytona's a weird one actually, because it's the first race of the year. It's, you know, middle of January. You start off with pretty much one of your biggest races of the year, and it's always a fun race. Daytona's one of the fun ones. As a driver, it's one of the ones that everyone wants to win. We did very well. We were very strong at Daytona this year. We led a lot of the first 16 hours before, unfortunately, we had a failure in one of the pit stops with the starter motor. So that put us out of contention, really. It put us just too many laps down to make it back. But it gave us a lot of encouragement towards the year. It got us really fired up for Le Mans as well. We knew that we had a good package this year. We had the pace in the McLaren, myself, Frederick, Brendan. We're all happy with our performance at Daytona to carry it forward to Le Mans. So, and then we had a strong run at Sebring. We were 7th. We were running with a little bit of damage from some contact on the first lap, which was just holding us back, you know, a little bit on pace. But we were pretty happy with how strong we were there and how well that race went. And Brendan drove extremely well at Sebring as well. And being the bronze, you know, against other amateur drivers, Brendan's performance is hugely important for our result in these, especially in these endurance races. This year was my third Le Mans. It's very different to doing your first Le Mans. I remember my first one, you get there and you're so overwhelmed by everything around the race, you know, so all the fans, all the media staff, all the different briefings and stuff you have to go to, the drivers' parades, the scrutineering in the town and stuff like that. There's a lot of distractions at Le Mans that actually can take your mind off driving the car. And then when you do get in the car, it's an incredibly challenging track. It's the highest speed circuit that we go to.
The first time I did Le Mans, the kind of first couple laps I went out, I was lifting down the straight. And you know, you lose just huge amounts of time. And so the more you do Le Mans, the more you do any circuit, the better you're going to get, the more comfortable you're going to get.
The lowest downforce that we run all year, we're running minimum downforce on the car, so there's a lot, you know, the car feels slightly different to where it does everywhere else. You're on a mixture of permanent circuit, public roads, so the cambers and bumps are unusual. So the first year there was a lot to take in, and now obviously this is my third year back at Le Mans. You're much more relaxed, you know, you just sort of take it in your stride and enjoy it. I'd say probably enjoy it more and then perform better in the car as well, because you just know the place better, you know the event better. It's just a different beast to every other race that we do.
First practice today here on Wednesday went very well. We are P2, which is very good. We did a small simulation of the qualifying at the beginning of the session, and we had some good lap times. Then we concentrated a bit more on speed and setup for the race. So at the moment the drivers are very happy with the feeling.
Brendan did a mega job actually, he's driving really well. We then got him back out on old tyres as well, because obviously like we're trying to do with the car, we need to work on our own driving as a team over the race distance as well really. So yeah, still a bit to learn, still some improvements to make, but yeah, we're really happy with a positive session.
It was the first time that the GT3 area in Le Mans was, so we were not sure how much the other manufacturers were like holding back and like trying to manage their speed, but we definitely knew that the car was just feeling really good. So we knew that if we're gonna have a good BOP, we're gonna be fast because the car was in a good window, so we just knew that as soon as we can, it would be very fast.
So we're halfway through qualifying. Fred's doing a really good job. P2 currently, a couple of tenths off pole. So we've boxed now, made a couple of changes to the car based on his feedback on the balance, and we're putting a second set of tyres on now to have another go. So far really happy. As I said, we're just only a couple of tenths off P1, so let's go and see if Fred can find that time now.
I'm actually trying not to prepare myself that much, like to not overhype it, because it's there's a lot of pressure on it, because you know there's so many people watching and you want to do a good performance, but it's pretty much you just need to do the same job as you're doing on every other circuit. So it's just gonna go through the same like mental prep and the same warm-up procedure for the car with the tires and everything. So cool to drive around Le Mans at the fastest way possible with no fuel and just new tires, and it's like the fastest lap you're gonna do the entire weekend. So that one lap we got in qualifying is just one of the most incredible experience I have got so far.
We finished P2, which is a great result, because it brings us into hyperpole. So the aim was to be in the top 8, and which we managed pretty well. So the car is just amazing, good balance. We're surprised with the pace of some other cars who were not very fast. Maybe they haven't found a good setup for qualifying, and they probably have a better setup for the race.
Frederick did a great job in qualifying, got us through to hyperpole. The rules in WEC at Le Mans means that the bronze driver has to do the hyperpole shootout. So Brendan jumped in the car and he did a fantastic job. And it was a really special moment, because seeing him go from a track day in a road car together to being on pole at Le Mans and the whole hyperpole ceremony and everything.
The hair was racing on my arms. It was just such a cool experience, because that's something we all been fighting for, but also it's just so good for Brendan as well. We're just so well deserved that he's ending up doing the pole position for Le Mans.
It was a surreal experience. I was lost for words. I couldn't believe that we got there and that we got that result. It was pretty cool. Yeah, something I'll remember forever.
Thank you guys, really. Thank you, team. First step done. We have
24 hard hours to go. Maybe 26. We have 2 more, I think. But really, thank you. This was a team effort. Thank you, Freddie, for getting us there also. Thank you. It's awesome. Thank you, McLaren. All right.
Just to finish any 24-hour race is hard because the cars now are so well built that we're pushing them flat out for 24 hours like we do in qualifying. So to win it is you know, everything has to go right. Everything has to go your way. A million pieces have to come together. It's a huge team effort as well. We had nearly 40 people on the car, and everything, you know, the car needs to be reliable, the drivers need to be reliable, making no mistakes, and you need to have the speed, and you need to just you need to have a bit of luck. It needs to go your way as well. So yeah, it's extremely tough. First half of the race, our pace looked awesome. We were really happy. We were always running around at the top 3, top 5 cars. We've been excited for a while now about racing the McLaren at Le Mans because, you know, the characteristics of the McLaren 720S GT3 really suit that track, and our pace looked strong for the first half of the race.
Unfortunately, we had to stop in the box because Brandon made a small mistake going into the second chicane. It was quite wet, a bit damp, not wet but damp, and with slick tires. And he just slid straight on, hit the tire barrier stack where normally there's like a sort of artificial chicane. Damaged the radiator, so the engine temperature was getting hot. So we had to come in. Luckily, at the same time, there was a safety car, so we lost 4 laps, which is quite a lot, but it couldn't be more if there was no safety car.
I broke a tiny bit too late, and I didn't realize that it was still completely soaked. In fact, there were still like standing water there, and I was on slick tires, so when I went to hit the brake to go through the tires, the car just sailed forward, and it was just such a bummer to make a mistake like that. But that's again the nature of the track. It can, and that race in particular, it can catch you out anywhere. I never would have expected that, but that's usually when it happens.
At Le Mans, it's just so hard to make those laps back. We made 2 of them back, and we got back to 3 laps down. When you're out of contention and still trying to finish, it's a really hard race from that point on because, you know, you're looking after the car, you're trying not to pick up any damage, still trying to keep the pace up, and the car still feels awesome. You know, once they'd repaired it, the car still felt amazing. So it's kind of frustrating that you're now a few laps down and feel like you could be leading, but that's the nature of the sport, and sometimes the way it goes.
All right. Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Tired. Very tired.
To finish the race.
Yeah.
You know, we could have been up there, but just to finish the race is a pretty big deal out here. So yeah, happy and tired.
Happy and tired. That's the emotions right now.
We had some highs and we had some lows, but we stuck to it to the end. And the object is always to get to the finish line. And the end result is slightly disappointing, but you know, we got to the end of the race, and it's slightly disappointing to start from pole position and ultimately, just miss out on an incident on track which put us a few laps behind. But we'll love to come back next year and put that right.
It was an amazing week. An honor to be here and cross the line. We got pole. Not the result that we wanted, but overall, it was a great time, and we'll be back for more.
It was not what we wanted, but still just such an incredible experience to be at Le Mans and to be in the contending for a win was just so cool. So hopefully we're definitely going back and get that win soon. It
was mixed emotions because we went to Le Mans wanting to win Le Mans, and it wouldn't be right if we weren't feeling like that. But the excitement of Brendan's hyperpole, just seeing where he is from a performance point of view, is pretty awesome, and I'm sure that he's super motivated to go back there and give it another go. And I'm sure if he keeps up this form and keeps putting the effort in, and as a team collectively we keep pushing, I'm sure one year it will be our year.
The team keeps getting stronger. My relationship with the team is better than ever. We have more fun as a team. We're getting better results, and it's just having a ton of fun. I know that we'll be back, and it'll make the final victory even that much better.